Hello everyone. Today we are going to be working on the expressions and equations practice questions. The question that we're going to go over in this video is shown on the screen. I have the practice problem shown on the left, and then on the right I have a program that is essentially going to represent just a plain piece of paper. So at the end of course exam, when you take the test in person, you will be given scratch paper and a pencil. So make sure that you are using those resources. Even if you don't have to type in all of your work, make sure that you write out all of your work to minimize little mistakes here or there. And so that's exactly what I'm going to show you today when I complete this problem. So the question says an equation is shown, and then it shows you the equation. What is the solution to the equation? So I'm going to, first of all, just write out the problem exactly as it is. So I have 3x plus 4/5 is equal to 7 minus 2x. And I want to get x by itself. So I have two x terms I have one on the left and one on the right. So I need to combine all of my x terms on one side. And I want to use opposite operations to do that. So let's say I'll just move all my variables to the left side, so I'll label that with a V. And that means that all the other numbers, all just the regular numbers without variables, which we call constants, those constants need to go on the other side, which is going to be the right side. So I'm going to move my variables to my left side and my constants to my right side. So then anything that's not on the right side, not on the correct side I should say, needs to be moved over. So I have this minus 2x on the right side, which has a variable, which means that I want to move that to the left side. So since it is minus 2x, that's what I'm doing with that term, I'm going to do the opposite operation and add 2x to both sides. So I'm going to add 2x, and then I'm going to combine like terms. So I'm going to combine the plus 2x with the 3x that I have on the left, and 3x plus 2x gives me 5x. I have to carry down that plus 4/5. And then on the right side, I've canceled out that minus 2x, so that cancels out, and then I'm left with just 7. So now I only have variables on my left side, which is good. So the next step is to get all of my constants on the right side. So the only constant that I have on the left is 4/5. So since I'm adding 4/5, I want to do the opposite and subtract 4/5 from both sides. Plus 4/5 minus 4/5 cancel out. And then I have 7 minus 4/5. Now, I could write this out and use fraction rules to simplify, but adding and subtracting fractions is kind of tricky. So what I'm going to do is use the calculator and see if I end up with a terminating decimal. So what that means is I just want to write something out that I don't have to round. So if I end up with an irrational number that has a lot of decimal points where I would end up having to round, I don't want that. So I'm going to type in just 7 minus 4 divided by 5, and I use those just using the keys on my keyboard. 7 minus 4 over 5, and that gave me 6.2. And Desmos rounds up to 3 decimal places usually. So if it's 6.2, then I know that this is not rounded. So I can just write that as 6.2. And then that'll be easier for me to deal with than more fractions. So I'm going to write it as 5x is equal to 6.2. And then I need to use opposite operations to cancel out, for my final step, cancel out anything that's not x. So over on the left I have 5 times x. 5x means 5 times x. So I'm going to use opposite operations, just like I did to cancel out addition and subtraction. I'm going to cancel out that 5 times x by doing the opposite operation and dividing both sides by 5. So then in my calculator over here, which I accessed by going to where it says calculator up at the top, in my calculator I'm going to click on the second box and I'm going to type in 6.2 divided by 5. And that gives me a final answer of 1.24. So I get x is equal to 1.24. Now I can do that for this problem because, like I said before, it's a terminating decimal. It ends after the 0.24. It doesn't keep going, so I don't have to round. And it's also because I type in my answer here. So I can write in 1.24, and that's my answer. I can submit that and I'm done. For multiple choice questions, you might have to find a fraction that is equal to 1.24, or maybe a mixed number. And so you might have to either write it out and solve using fraction rules, and you would actually have to subtract 7 minus 4/5 and leave it as a fraction. You could do that, or you could say, I know my answer is 1.24, and then compare that with the multiple choice answers, and figure out which one of them is equal to 1.24. So you might have to do that if it's a multiple choice answer, but for this answer right here where I just type in the number, I'm just going to leave it exactly like that. So there is a similar problem in the Google form in the description, so make sure to click on the link in the description below to answer the Google form and to practice a problem like this on your own. And I will see you next week.